But what buildings? Public buildings? Private buildings?
Like the one we're in.
Sure. Yeah. Like if this.
How many buildings like this are in Grant?
The one we're in.
Grant. So I understand what you're saying, but Grant as a city can't benefit from what you're proposing in Grant.
Well, this XL bill could be reduced.
Yeah.
And then fixed for 25 years.
Yes.
If another way that cities will benefit directly is by, let's say we are taking 10 acres of land out of an 80-acre parcel, oftentimes those 10 acres of land will be taxed as a commercial use, even though it's zoned ag. So that will be tax benefits that we end up paying as well.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't see the benefit to Grant. I mean, it's going to Minnesota, it's going to the schools, but you're being in Grant and we're not benefiting.
We'd love to have
This building.
Unless the grant.
Well, you know, we have what, a meeting a month here, and the planning commission, or the city council has a meeting a month here. How much energy is that? $50? $60?
That's in your house.
Less than our house. So I'm just understanding, I understand you want to put it in Grant. We got a lot of open land in Grant, but we're not benefiting. And that's my heartache here. We're not benefiting. University of Minnesota is benefiting, but why are you here in Grant? Why are you trying to modify our interest in Grant? Did you do it in Lake Elmo too? Are you doing it in all the areas with big open spaces? That's my heartache here.
Helping the world.
You're not helping. Yeah, but you can help the world in a different city. I don't think this matches our comprehensive plan. I don't think we want to see solar gardens everywhere around here. I mean, we want to see open land. That's why we move here. We don't want to see big solar arrays in the ground. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. And we're not benefiting. You say we're benefiting, but I don't go to the University of Minnesota. I don't go there. So
that was an example.
People that would subscribe, like residents that would subscribe, right?
There's several ways of benefiting, right? So there's the increase of tax. There's the capability for this building to subscribe, or for homeowners, individuals, residences to subscribe to projects. We hire local labor. I don't have statistics of how many residents of Grant work at Noble, Zork Electric, or all the other local contractors that we work with. We work with local. I mean, all the labor is local that builds these projects and then maintains the projects, and mows the grass and does the seed mix and will install the plants. So it's a sizable investment that we make, and hopefully that would trickle through to local citizens. Now, to answer the question, where do we do this? I mean, U.S. Solar is a small company. We're headquartered in Minneapolis, but in the last 3 years, we have enacted new ordinances in probably 5 or 6 different cities or counties. On top of all the other developers that have enacted ordinances. So we have dozens of projects throughout Minnesota. The fortunate part of where you are is that you haven't been inundated with the 40 or 50 acre plants, the solar projects that a lot of the other companies from California and New York did when they came into Minnesota. So now we're talking about a fixed size that is not going to get bigger than what we would be proposing, and what the ordinance has proposed would allow, which is 1 megawatt. And I won't get into the extreme detail, but there are co-location restrictions. There are natural caps on what an existing overhead feeder line can handle. So, I mean, I can tell you very clearly that we aren't looking at a second site within the city of Grant. Maybe at some point in the future we would, and I haven't heard of any other developers looking around either. So we understand your concern, and I think with the visual buffering that we would expect the Planning Commission would require as a condition, that it would be something that hopefully wouldn't be a mass work folks.
I mean, how about the schools?
We have a trio of schools in Grant. They're not the Mead High School District schools, but they are in Grant. If they were to gain cost savings by using the output of your solar panels, that possibly could benefit Grant, because we're down our school costs slightly.
We've contacted dozens and dozens of K-12 school districts, public schools, and we'd be, if you have a great introduction, we'd love to chat with them as well.
But I get what you're saying. I mean, it really doesn't benefit the community of Grant. Maybe specific
Well, and even residents, so we have to subscribe, you know, is there a subscription cost? I mean, I don't know what you mean by subscribe. So, you know, I think there's all these things that we don't know, and we're looking to modify our zoning ordinances to allow these. And I don't think we understand, what if it was right next door to you? And I don't think any of us would like that. I'm sorry, I don't believe so. So if you ask yourself, would you like a solar array in your neighbor's backyard, and suddenly you can see it? Do we really want to modify these ordinances to suddenly allow these? You know, the city council has said there's a moratorium, so why would we do this if there's a moratorium anymore? I just don't see this being value added right now. Sorry, I just don't.
Well, the moratorium was put in place till this could be taken care of.
Right.
But if you remember from our last meeting, the locations where these solar farms can be put up is along Town 12 and Manning, so that's really a limited area for the city of Grant. Another thing, I mean, yes, we're probably not the citizens of Grant. We may not directly benefit from solar, but every amount of electricity that's created with solar, that's less that's created by coal, natural gas, nuclear, those type of things, then maybe we won't have a rate increase if there's more of these small solar generators being created in the state, then maybe our rates will stay a little more steady instead of getting these interim rate increases that become permanent on our Excel bill.
I don't think a solar garden is going to change what rate increases go through the public commission from Excel. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen.
Neither
I've worked for companies like that. They just put the rate through, and they don't care where it's coming from, public commission approves it, they get the rate increase. So I don't know what we're looking to do by putting solar gardens suddenly in Grant, because, you know, it may make you feel good, but it won't look good. Because like I said, I was just in Michigan, they have a lot of these little places, and you get tired of seeing it. I know it looks good, I know you're supposed to feel good about it, but I don't think it's right for Grant.
Would that decision, though, primarily fall upon the council, the city council?
We have a recommendation.
Very neat.
Quite a few years ago. It says back in 1936 and 37. How about that?
Yep.
So I don't know if you have any questions, any more questions you want to ask, or if I've,
You said that you are getting, this would be additional rent for you.
yes,
So they are paying you to
Some rent.
allow you to have
yes,
that on your
which
land.
would be added income,
Mhm.
because I am trying to live off of Social Security. The rent from my farmer pays my taxes and my insurance. So that will certainly help me through.
I like your llamas.
Pardon me?
I like your llamas over here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do we want to go through the,
I'm just saying, it's not for public comments, this is amongst us right now. I'm just saying that if that happens, then our hands are really tied. Maybe you think it's a little bit less tied, but still. You know, they come in, and if it's in, it's in. You know, now we have another one. So anyhow, I'm just saying that I don't know if that's what our comprehensive plan was about. I don't think that having solar gardens in Grant is, once you open the floodgates, they are open, period. Then I don't think we want to do that right now.
Do we need to talk about it before we
Sure. Yeah.
make a motion? Anyone else have? You're pretty clear where you're at.
I think it's- Again, it's just,
Right.
I don't care if it's not right in your backyard, you're gonna see it, depending on the route that you take. It's like, wow, there's a solar garden. the solar garden. There's the solar. So I don't
Yeah,
know. I just,
I'll second.
like I said, I was in Michigan.
No,
They're
I-
all over, and it just got old fast.
No, it's an interesting point. For me, I understand where you're coming from, but I would rather have solar garden than people. That's my thing.
Mhm.
So, you know, the cars, and so,
Mhm.
but I see where you're coming from.
I'd rather have solar gardens than horses.
Hey, it's-
Well, you could get shot for talking like that.
Hey, I didn't say
This is
nothing.
great.
Yeah, a couple more houses, pay more taxes, and then that helps everybody. The tax base, because you get more houses too. 'Cause you
You
could
got
have
more-
that too.
more people on the roads. I don't know. I'm more reclusive.
You don't like neighbors?
He doesn't even like me.
Mr. Chair, Mr.
I
Chairman,
see what you're
sir.
saying, but
I'm ready to make a motion and
Hold on.
put it up for a vote or discussion,
Okay. Do anybody want to discuss more?
if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
The discussion's over, I guess? Everybody okay?
with what?
Well, we can discuss.
Is that you give up 7 acres of solar panel space, but you get to keep 3 or 4 or 5 times that much of open land because you can afford to do it. But it would, the same ratio would work anywhere else too. If you're keeping more open land and screening the portion that you're using for solar panels, I'm kind of in favor of it. I don't know.
There is,
You don't like neighbors either?
No.
there is,
Yeah, I meet my
Situation.
neighbors.
there's a situation where you could limit possibly the number of solar gardens you have in this township or city, whatever you want to call it. And
But
part
it's
of
not in here, though.
Well-
We'd have to add that in.
It might be necessary to add it in.
So then we can't approve this as written. We'd
You
have to
could
go
amend
back.
it and forward it with the amended.
They can make note to city council for them to include it.
So, you know, you have one person that says yes. I mean, I got called by these people too for our land. I said no. So you get one person that says yes, and then suddenly we have to approve this? You know?
We don't have to.
I know we don't have to.
Well, we're gonna be voting on it shortly.
Yeah, I know we are.
I would just rather see something like this than another
Have you-
15 houses going in or whatever.
You've seen one of these before?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. I don't know if it'll be close to you, but it's gonna be close to somebody. And then we're gonna get public comments, and people are gonna say, I don't want it in my backyard, as they always do. And our hands are gonna be tied, and then we're gonna have to approve it. And these people are not gonna be happy. This is what always happens.
That one neighbor is not here either.
Well, again, not a public comment, so they wouldn't be here, they wouldn't know about it yet, because it hasn't been approved. So, but anyhow, that's my heartache, guys. Once we do it, we do it, and then somebody's gonna come in for public comment when we approve something like this. And then somebody's gonna be really mad, and we can't do anything about it.
They're gonna be anyway, either way.
What?
They're gonna be anyway, either way.
I don't know.
'Cause there's some people that are pushing for it, and there's some that aren't.
Well, again, it's just what you're gonna see. You know, it's just what you're gonna see. Screening is not gonna be 100%, as they said, unless you put in the screening that you have to put in 20-foot trees, right off the bat. I don't wanna see 4-foot trees that take 15 years to grow, and we're gonna see it for 15 years. So unless you do something like that, you know, then it's the only way. And you gotta do it with screening. You know? It's tough. All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay.
So the motion was to,
Yep. All in favor of the ordinance amending the grant code of ordinances, section 32, 245, table of uses, and chapter 32 zoning, adding division 4, solar energy systems, say aye.
Aye.
Can you put your hands up so we can actually do a count? 3, 4, 5. All opposed? Nay. It's approved.
Thank you.
It's recommended for approval.
Recommended for approval. It's got to go to city council.
Yes.
But, you know, city council has a moratorium, so.
They may exercise that. And I know Jeff